With the vast history of comic books, there are bound to be a few weird things in there, and one of those weird things is relationships, and we're going to talk about 10 of them. Now, starting off the list today, the third volume of Secret Avengers is an interesting comic. Honestly, it's quite good, but something I don't believe I will ever come to understand is how we got a plot line that saw MODOK, the mechanized organism designed only for killing, becoming part of the Avengers, and then he saves the day by crushing hard on the at-the-time director of S.H.I.E.L.D., Maria Hill. And she actually seems to reciprocate. MODOK saves the day from a cosmic monstrosity and a mad scientist by using his strong romantic feelings for Maria Hill to overpower their influence. Now, after this big murderous head proclaims his love to a seemingly unconscious Maria Hill, you'd expect her to be kind of uncomfortable upon coming to learn this info, but instead she walks up to his house the next day to have a chat that genuinely sounds like she's considering trying to date the reformed villain, especially because she goes inside his house for tea. Someone on the internet referred to Maria Hill as one of the most emotionally repressed characters to ever grace Marvel's pages, so pairing her up with MODOK actually sort of works in some kind of weird way. Now, taking place in Birds of Prey Volume 1, number 31, Ra's al Ghul decided that he needed a bit of a change to his life. Barbara Gordon, Oracle, sent her detective friend Jason Bard to follow her teammate at the time, Black Canary, as she had started seeing a mysterious rich older man, and Barbara was worried that something wasn't quite right. That was some great Bat Family intuition, as that rich older man turned out to be frickin' Ra's al Ghul. Ra's was masquerading as a count and wanted to seduce Black Canary into marrying him and joining the League of Assassins, which, okay man, you do you. Now, Canary, really weirdly, was actually pretty into him at first, but the relationship took a bit of a turn when she found out about his goal of manipulating and turning her to the dark side, and so naturally, she rejected his advances. Instead, Ra's tries to change her mind by stealing her away and taking her to the Lazarus Pits in hopes of destroying her mind and making her susceptible to his advances. Now, luckily, Oracle arrived in time to stop Ra's al Ghul, but in the ensuing battle, Laurel, Black Canary, was injured. Barbara put her into the pit to save her, and as a side effect, Black Canary regained her canary cry, which is a good thing. Now, although she is better known for her long-standing relationship with Daredevil, Elektra and Frank Castle, the Punisher, once became a power couple. Which is so weird because, let's be honest, Elektra is not exactly a full-on good guy. Sure, you could say the same for Frank Castle, but his whole thing is wiping out criminals, and that's kind of what she is. Just saying. Either way, it happened, and as you might expect for these two, it kind of ended in tragedy. Their relationship was revealed to us in 2013's Thunderbolts number 7 after Deadpool hits on Elektra, and she turns him down by revealing that she was already hitting the hay with Punisher. Now, back in Punisher number 27, Frank had been targeting the hideouts of various different mob members, only to find Elektra had already taken out everyone each time he showed up. When he crashed the penthouse of a mob boss named Vic Strega, Punisher arrived just in time to watch Elektra cut the man's heart out. He then asked her out, and Punisher had Strega's heart bronzed and gave it to Elektra as a romantic gesture in Thunderbolts number 30, which is weird. Unfortunately, the end came when the Punisher took it upon himself to end the life of Elektra's criminal brother, and I mean, the two just couldn't really see eye to eye after that one. Not sure why. Now listen, no one will ever love you as much as you love yourself. Or at least if you're someone as insane as Harley Quinn, that is absolutely the case. Proven by the fact that she actually dated herself from another universe. Taking place in the miniseries Harley's Little Black Book, which actually detailed a few of Quinn's weird relationships like the one with Lobo, Harley Quinn found herself in a romantic situation with herself. Specifically, the version of herself from DC's Bombshells, who was honestly drastically different from the main universe Harley at this time. Them being so different from one another made it a little bit less weird, but it's still kind of weird. It kind of almost reminds me of Loki falling for Sylvie in the Loki TV show, although Harley's Little Black Book definitely came way before and was way less serious. Now moving on, while the Scarlet Witch is known by many to have had her biggest love interests in the form of Vision and even Wonder Man, when she first ever joined on the Avengers, she actually had a big old crush on Captain America. This was pretty quickly forgotten about in place of Vision coming into her life, but way later on, Wanda and her early crush Capsicle got their time in the pink light of love. The pair began a quiet romance in Captain America and the Falcon number 6, but unfortunately, Wanda can go a little crackerjack bonkers from time to time, and their relationship started shortly before Avengers Disassembled, which saw Wanda go bananas and wipe out multiple Avengers and led directly to the House of M and eventually M Day. Needless to say, the two did not stick together. Now, sometime after the hero Tigra, or whatever you want to call her, had become romantically involved with teammates Henry Pym and Wonder Man at the same time when on the West Coast Avengers, during Secret Invasion, Tigra began dating who she thought was Hank Pym. He actually ended up being a Skrull imposter named Kree Null. And then he actually turned out to be a clone of a Skrull imposter named Kree Null. So Tigra was dating a clone of a shapeshifting alien who was pretending to be a fellow Avenger. And then she discovered that she was pregnant. Understandably, Tigra was very fearful of the child she was carrying due to the father being a Skrull. Sorry, a clone of a Skrull. She did eventually give birth to a healthy, normal baby boy named William. Normal in that he was also kind of a cat person. William is genetically Hank Pym's son, so Tigra took him to meet his sister Nadia Van Dyne at her birthday party. When the real Hank Pym returned, he had no memory of the relationship or any clue that he was now technically a father, but unlike a lot of relationships in comics, Hank and Tigra embarked on a real, mature relationship where they even discussed their hopes and fears and expectations of each other, and from that point could move on to build a future together. But alas, the relationship was pretty much forgotten after the cancellation of Avengers Academy, where most of it took place. Now listen, sometimes the best and most impactful of romantic partners walk into our lives through mere happenstance. And other times, that fateful romantic partner is quite literally the devil, and that unfortunately is what happened to the mutant known as Magma. During the Fear Itself event, when the New Mutants were trying to get to the Norse realm of Hell, that is spelled with one L, to help Hela and Danny Moonstar, the mutant Cypher had his own powers somehow fail him, and he messed up the teleportation spell, accidentally saying Hell with two L's instead. The mutants, among whom was Magma, landed in Mephisto's realm of Hell, and she made a deal with him in order to get sent to the right place. The deal she made was to go on a date with Mephisto. Understandably, she didn't enjoy this date because she was also understandably a little scared of being duped or tricked. The biggest twist though happens when Mephisto confronts her about it and reveals that because his appearance is based on a person's perception of him, he still experiences a full spectrum of human emotions, including love, and he legit just wanted to have a normal date. And then after that, they begin actually casually dating until she finds out about his ownership of the Desir. That is the thing that did it for her, not the whole he's the devil. Weird. And moving out from that weird relationship, in Age of X-Men Extremists, Fred Dukes, also known as the Blob, has gone from being a dumb, evil, and slightly uncomfortable villain to a granola bar road trip dad in the Age of X-Men. And alongside that, he's caught the eye of someone a lot of you nerds would spend countless moments salivating over: Psylocke. Don't lie, I know it's true. Now this new Blob and Psylocke are a pairing that actually works way better than you might think. But for those of you wondering why or how this happened, the writer of this comic, Leah Williams, actually answered that for us. Responding to a Redditor who asked the very question of why or how Psylocke would end up with the Blob in AOX, she's not in a really good mental place before AOX considering everything, and then being brainwashed on top of that for the storyline of AOX isn't going to make things any better. She sort of feels like she's lucid dreaming. She's distant, aloof, and dreamy, but Blob in AOX is very different because of how this world affected him. He's warm and goofy and a bit of a daydreamer. Betsy immediately connects with his unabashed sense of self because it's something that she is lacking at that moment, and that's before she becomes fascinated by his attraction to her. She's looking at herself through his adoring eyes and using what she finds there to inform her sense of self. And there you have it. That's actually rather sweet. It didn't last though. Now, I'm sure most of you nerds do know about this next one, so this point is for 1, the people who didn't know, but 2, it's for me because I love it. Although you'd assume that the relationship between Otto Octavius and Spider-Man's Aunt May would be inherently kinda icky, it's actually surprisingly really pleasant, even though the pair weren't meant to last. Otto is shown to have a real and genuine affection for Aunt May, with the pair even almost getting married at one point, which is how most of you probably know about this whole debacle. Who you should really feel bad for here though, is Peter Parker. While Peter has struggled with this little romance like most normal people might, except for this being a superhero issue, he's also had quite the unwanted peak into their relationship. In The Amazing Spider-Man number 699, where Otto swaps bodies with Peter Parker, Spider-Man is trapped in Otto's aunt-loving body, and what do you know, he also has access to Otto's memories, which leads to the lovely little moment where Peter gets a lovely little memory which appears to detail the villain and his aunt, pseudo-mom, going to the town of Pound. And lastly today, I'm ending this list off with another point I'm sure people know about, but I simply do not give a damn because it's great. In one alternate reality, the Greek demigod and Avenger, Hercules, and the mutant and also Avenger, Wolverine, were lovers. Fans met them when the X-Men formed the Extreme X-Men to hunt down evil versions of Professor X in different universes across the multiverse. Hailing from the reality of Earth 12025, this version of our feral mutant is the Governor General of the Dominion of Canada and Viceroy to Her Majesty's expedition to Shangri-La, whatever that means. He is like a version of Wolverine who is also mixed with President Theodore Roosevelt, and Hercules is his lover, partner, and adventure buddy. These two shared a love that was built after years and years of working together, becoming their world's greatest heroes, and their bond was so strong that Herc even gave James a super cool upgrade in the form of a skeleton made of adamantine, which is a godly golden metal even stronger than adamantium, which also made Wolverine completely indestructible and immune to telepathic attacks. Unfortunately though, at first they were forced to keep it secret because their queen forbade homosexual relationships and Zeus forbade any god but himself from consorting with mortals. But then they revealed the relationship anyways and fought side by side in the pits of Tartarus against damned souls until they were rescued 4 years later. Very cool. But that's all I got for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching on Top 10 Nerd. I'm Adam Andrews, and I'll catch you all on the flippy flop. Peace out, nerds.